Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Tēnā koutou katoa no mai whakaronga mai ki The Shelf. Excuse me. E punua pau mai I ngā whare puka puka I Whangarei I Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. I pahura koto I ngā hotaka me ohotu ki ngā whare puka puka I YouTube. Hello everyone, welcome to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM and streaming online at beagleradio.co.nz. To catch up on episodes you might have missed, subscribe to the Whangarei District Libraries YouTube channel.
Kia ora, everyone.
Yeah, kia ora. So my name is Andy. I'm an outreach services librarian, and I also manage the DVD collection.
Yep, he's on double duty. And my name is Karlie. I'm a technical services librarian at Whangarei District Libraries as well. So thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Just to explain what we do here, we are librarians in Whangarei, New Zealand. On our show, we discuss books, culture, community, library trends, and anything else we find interesting, really.
Yeah, this is such a cool project for us, and we're so happy for the sense of community that we've just established or made stronger by doing this. So, yeah.
Yes, and I forget what episode we are even on. I think it's 38.
38, yeah, we're encroaching on 40 episodes, which is quite a lot, yeah.
I think it's about 2 years since this first idea was pitched in just in the back room of the library.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that a library can put together a podcast, and I think Glenn just said, Are you in?
Yeah, and we were like, we are so in.
I was in right away.
We can talk about libraries all day.
Yeah, definitely. And, well, the rest is recorded.
Yeah, so all the past episodes are on YouTube, except for the first few lost episodes, which we shall not go into further detail about.
Yeah, that was too bad. But if anything, it was a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. It was just practice for us.
Yeah. But yes, we will always refer to those as the lost episodes. Like the lost silent films. Or the lost episodes of Doctor Who. I have some news for everyone out there. So on Saturday night, Karlie and I, plus Glenn and 3 other people who were with us, we were on a quiz team, the librarian quiz team at Whangarei Boys High School. Well, we got second place.
I would say that the margin between us and the winners was narrow, but I'm not a sore loser at all.
No, definitely not.
No.
We lost by 1.5 points to a team of teachers. Librarians may be smart, but teachers are apparently smarterer.
But it was such a cool night, and it was raising money for the Whangarei Boys High School so they could do lunchtime activities. We were all for that.
Yeah.
So thanks to the school for an awesome night out.
Yeah, it was a great fundraiser. I'm so glad that I went. I had a blast.
Me too. Yeah, it was that we had a good team, and it was a very appropriately nerdy night out for us.
Oh, definitely. And Glenn got an award for his Basil Fawlty costume.
Yeah, for context, the theme was seasons, and we thought we were so smart by dressing up as seasonings, and basil is, where we were leading with that.
Yep, we are oh so clever. But, yes, thank you to Whangarei Boys High School. We had a great time, and I think you should do it again.
Yep, we'll be in.
Yeah, I'll go.
Cool. Okay, so one of our favorite segments on this show is mythbusting the library. if you're a keen listener of the show, we like to explain a lot of why perceptions of the library aren't necessarily 100% accurate some of the time. And we just like to promote all the cool things that the library has to offer. So in this case of myth-busting the library, one thing we get often at the front desk when we're doing customer service shifts is the phrase, "You look like you need something to do." So let's let's look into that.
Yes. What a strange way to start a conversation. What do we do?
We do a lot, and I think we have one of the coolest jobs in the world, but it's also a lot of hard work and a lot of fulfilling work. So maybe we should look into what we do, just to myth bust the stereotype that we're just hanging around the front desk for funsies.
Yes, actually, if I can say, I did 2 customer service hours this morning, and it was quite busy.
Yeah.
The bell rings, and you go to the desk, and it really was one after the other. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And these can range from questions about books, questions for directions to part of the library. It could be someone needing help with the photocopier.
Yeah, so we're responding in real time to a lot of questions. So we sort of have to know the library processes inside and out to do the front desk, and we'll have to know the library management system, which is our computer system, which is very too much to go into at the moment.
Not to mention communication skills.
Communication and customer service skills. One thing I always like to think about is that we're doing a lot of it's not only technical skills that we're doing at the front desk, it's also like a sort of like emotional labor sometimes.
Yeah.
So we hear all about people's days, and we get a whole lot of people in the library from all walks of life. Sometimes there's an elderly customer and they'll chat to you about their day, and this is the main excursion they've got that's happening in the day. Or it might be people coming to the library for all sorts of reasons, maybe just to get in the warm or have shelter, use the Wi-Fi, things like that. And then 99% of the interactions with our customers are lovely and they totally make our day. But even that is sort of like, it can either, all of it, for good and bad, leaves an impression on you. And that's sort of a performative element of customer service. I'm sure it's the same for, working in retail and everything. You get to know.
Yeah, a restaurant. Yeah. Emotional labor is a great expression because it is work listening to, even if it's a customer's story behind why a book is late, that we have to decode people's requests sometimes. And I say this sometimes, but there's about 100 ways to ask the same question. And, we don't mind answering.
No, we love it. I always like to say, we're really sunshiny, happy people, but when we're talking to you, we've dialed it up to 11. So that's kind of hard work sometimes. But
yes. So if you do see us and we aren't currently moving,
but you never know, we could be keeping an eye on things. We could be waiting for someone to print something. We could,
I could be taking a note about something I must do after the shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Reminders.
So, but it is an awesome job. We love to see you.
Those are the things that you can more or less see us doing if you've ever worked in customer service. Behind the scenes, though, we do a lot.
Yeah, it's full on. So what have we got? We've got catalogers. We've got IT specialists. We've got Andy and the collections team purchasing resources, which is a whole process in itself.
Oh, yes.
Purchasing books and DVDs and things. Running reports and there's so much happening.
It can get very technical. Running reports is more complicated than it sounds, unless you're an IT whiz. And then there's planning events, which is a gradual process. It really is. With the workshopping, it starts with an idea, then workshopping, and then, it can follow many timelines, but it takes longer than a week. Or
Yeah, and we've got lots of events happening all year round. Every week there's something happening in the library, at least one something. So, you got to make the most of it.
Yes, definitely. And I do want to say, I've had a couple of people ask me, what's it like volunteering? And I tell them I don't know, because this is actually my career.
I've had someone express an interest in or wanting to pass on to their friend now that they're retired, that they could do some volunteering as a librarian and at the library. And just for the record, our volunteering positions are shelving, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and mending. Yeah, but that's those are the volunteering positions that we have. And what I do is it takes all day. I show up at 8:30, leave at 5 on a typical day.
And always got a bunch of stuff left over for the next day to work on.
Definitely.
Without fail. But so that's just one thing we get at the front desk a lot. You look like you need something to do, but we're happy to do that something you want us to do, which is check out your books.
Definitely, yeah. Please come to us, or just go and read and leave. That's your choice how you do it. Speaking of some of the things that we plan, we also have Lego Club. And
Yay!
Karlie and I did Lego Club last Tuesday. Yes, of course it was last Tuesday. And it was a lot of fun. What did we do, Karlie?
What did we do last time? So we started off with some quick fire challenges where they get like 10 minutes for some basic challenges, and which is kind of the way we like to ease into the Lego Club sessions. And then we had a big challenge, and that challenge was catapults.
Yeah, quick fire was an interesting choice of words.
No pun intended, or maybe intended. Yep.
Yeah, we made catapults with whatever we had at the table. You can make them using a what are the pieces called? A long plank piece, and then a set of wheels, and just set something on one side like a seesaw, and then put your fist down and fling it across the room. Yeah,
we also use rubber bands if they wanted to get a little bit more advanced. And as you can imagine, the kids were so into it. We were flinging little Lego pieces across the room. Yeah. In glee. The adults were getting into it too. I was obsessed about making a catapult with rubber bands, and mine was almost maybe a bit violent for Lego Club. It would fire across the room. Don't aim it at the TV. Yeah, but I think that was one of probably our most popular challenges we've done so far. Yeah. Anything that's kind of, you build it and then you can interact with it in some way is a good one. And that was definitely one where the adults were into it too, including us. Yeah. There was one parent who was constructing a kind of crossbow using a rubber band. And that was wicked. Yeah, that was cool. Did it work in the end? I don't think I followed up on that one. I think it did. Yeah, he was able to fire it at me. Yeah, some of these dads that show up to Lego Club, you can tell they use Lego as children. Oh, yeah. Well, I did. Pros. Yeah. And I still love Lego. I still have a blast. And I'm glad that, as part of my career, I get to have some Lego too. Yeah, once a month. So that will be back, I think, next month, because school holidays will be over by then. So the first Tuesday of every month, so long as it's not a school holiday, Lego Club is on. Definitely. And I've got a bit of a spiel about Lego Club, because I think there's a bit more to it than just calling it an after-school activity.
because an after-school activity has many purposes as well.
True that.
But on the first Tuesday of the month, we have Lego Club, where kids and parents come together from different parts of the community, and they meet for this shared interest to build, to create something with Legos. And there are many benefits to Lego Club. The benefits include exposure to other communities and cultures. Kids meet other kids who go to different schools and come from different backgrounds and neighborhoods, but with the same goal of building and being creative. Which reminds me of the next benefit, developing their creativity in a very fun way. We at Lego Club, we give the kids different challenges, such as building a catapult, in the case of last week, or building a treehouse. I did that about 2 years ago. And they have to do this with the Lego provided and with the time provided. There are many more things that I can talk about, but the last benefit, I think, is fostering the child's imagination. Not only do the kids create something, but sometimes they have a lot to say about their creations. In a way, they're kind of immersed in what they're creating. They're playing while they're making something. And I think that's very good for them.
Agreed. Yeah. There's so many benefits to Lego Club. Imagination, creativity, thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Thinking with the time limit, as you said. And they're all really into it. And we like to establish like a positive environment within, sharing. They're not talking down about their own creations or other people's creations. It's a really warm and inviting and creative session. So I highly recommend this. If you've got kids that want to attend, please do so.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Okay, should we go into our first song?
Definitely.
Okay. This first song's a little bit cheesy. I chose this one because I'm going through a mad Billy Ocean phase. The only rule is that you have to listen to this one up loud.
And welcome back. I want to apologize. We had a little delay opening up the video with the song. We have two computers here. One was working at the time. The other that we were trying to use, I don't know. It had a moment.
That's allowed. We can all have our moments.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think the next thing that we were going to talk about is something called the Glow Box as a part of ArtBeat Festival. So if you've been in to visit Whangarei Central Library in the past maybe week or so, you might have noticed a new addition to the front of the library. And that you can't really miss right up front. It's called the Glow Box. Our friends at Creative Northland, in particular the wonderfully talented Joe and Amy, have set up a really cool installation, the Glow Box, which is the shed that has a UV light inside and chalk that you can draw on the walls and dress up things. And it's really cool for people of all ages. So fellow Shelfie host Zana and I were keen to learn more about it, and so we caught up with Joe for an interview the other day. So should we roll the tape?
Yes. Just a moment, finding it.
So for reference, Joe is the events manager at Creative Northland, and Amy, who helped set up the installation, is the volunteer coordinator at Creative Northland, and they're really awesome people.
Okay, got it here.
Kia ora koutou, we're here with Jo from Creative Northland, and she's going to tell us a bit about a cool project we have happening in the library and also in the community. Kia ora, Jo.
Kia ora. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming. Could you tell us a little bit about Creative Northland for people that might not be aware of all the cool mahi you do and the hard work?
Absolutely, yeah. So Creative Northland is a not-for-profit that supports the arts, culture and heritage sector all through Northland. So that includes Kaipara, Whangarei District and the Far North. And we offer a whole range of different advocacy services for creatives cultural practitioners, spaces and places. So that includes a whole bunch of free marketing. We do free printing services. We do 2 monthly emails that we help to share community notices, particularly around arts, culture and heritage events. We also offer advice for funding. We've got equipment hire. So there really is a number of different advocacy services that we offer region-wide. And the best place to find out more about that is our website, creativenorthland.com.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I would just love to know what your particular role in Creative Northland is, and when did you start, and how's it going for you?
Yeah, sure. So I've been with Creative Northland for 2 years now as the events manager. So I helped to organise ArtBeat last year, and I'm also helping to organise it this year. So the organisation brought me on mainly in a research and development role to oversee the different events that Creative Northland itself was hosting, and then to figure out what events had the most benefit for the community, which is one of the reasons why this year ArtBeat, we've transitioned it to a month-long event, because our main goal for organising this event is to get more people involved in arts, culture and heritage on a long-term basis. Now, we just felt that a one-day event wasn't really cutting that, which is why we decided to open it up to our community arts spaces and places and support them to host open days and activations within their space to bring more community to our smaller arts, culture and heritage organisations throughout the district.
I think that's a great idea. We just recently had the Pride Month, and so I think what you're saying about extending that out to a month, it gave people the chance to go to different locations, meet different people, have different activities, rather than just one day or one little festival day where it's all packed in, you might not be able to make it, but just extending it out, it's a really good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a key focus for us is accessibility, and for some of our community, going to a really busy event isn't super accessible, especially if there's some members of our community who don't like crowded spaces and don't like busy areas. So it's been really nice to activate some spaces and have much smaller, quieter events to serve those sections of community who don't like the big carnival days.
Such a perfect thing.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds awesome. And could you tell us a little bit about the glow shed that we have at the library right now?
Yeah, sure. So the glow shed was actually created for the Northern Lights Festival, which was back in 2019, and it was the material was sponsored by Sunshine Homes, and the actual shed itself was built by Asa Property Services out in Tutukaka. So big thanks to them for bringing this resource into the community. And it's basically, I know you can't see right now, but it's a 2.4 metre squared box, and it is completely blacked out inside, and we've got a black light in there. And on the inside, we've got lots of colourful glow-in-the-dark things that you can dress up with or make and create with. And we've even got some UV chalk that you can draw on the walls to illuminate your drawings. So it's a really fun thing to do. It's located in the library, so you can pop in at any time that the library is open. And on Sunday the 13th, we have got one of our local artists, Josie, and she's going to come in and do a mural in there. So if you want to watch some art come to life in the glow room, pop down this Sunday and check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, she did that last year with the same project, and it was really awesome.
When does ArtBeat finish? Is it
ArtBeat goes until the end of April.
end of April?
So on this Saturday, we've got our carnival day down in the town basin, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. And just like the last 27 years, that's going to be a day of creative performances, have-a-go zones, cultural kai, anything to do with arts, culture, heritage, you name it, it's probably going to be there. And then over the school holidays, we've got a number of other free activities happening as well. So the best place to find out about this is creativenorthland.com/ArtBeat. Or if you've got any specific questions about it, you can get in touch with me, events@creativenorthland.com.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jo.
No worries. See you at ArtBeat.
And we're back live. Thank you so much, Jo, for that interview. It was very insightful. And if you want to come along to the ArtBeat Carnival Day this Saturday, you'll see a few familiar faces with the library buses attending and a few of the librarians going along. It's bound to be an awesome day. So that's at this Saturday, the 12th of April at Putahi Park, and all the way along down to Rayburn House at the Town Basin. It's a free community event, and you're all invited to come. It's there's so much that's going to be happening. We've got, as we say, the library bus will be there, and we've also got Mermaid Bait performing with another familiar face. That's Glenn's band. There's dance, music, performances, arts and crafts, circus, and food stalls. So do come along.
Wait, circus?
Circus, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be such a cool day, and we hope to see you guys there.
I want to see a circus.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping to have some time to wander around myself, and maybe the circus will be happening at the right time.
Yeah, I haven't seen one since I was a child, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, you should come, Andy.
Okay. Sold.
Easy as that. Cool. What's the next thing we're going to talk about? Oh, yes. So, I was working hard the past couple of days on doing a deep dive into a man called Andrew Carnegie. You might recognize the last name because he was an influential figure in the early 20th century, late 19th century. Andrew Carnegie, a very wealthy businessman, wealthy philanthropist, and he gave away most of his money before he passed away. So what's this got to do with libraries? You'll find out.
All right, let's get into it. Let's check it out.
Check it out, library pun.
To try to make the world in some way better than you found it is to have a noble motive in life.
In this deep dive, we're going to look at the direct impact that businessman and philanthropist Andrew Carnegie has had on New Zealand libraries. First things first, let's add a bit of context. There are currently over 300 public libraries across Aotearoa, New Zealand. They are enjoyed by a significant number of people every day who visit for the books, the games, the computers, the events, and for the strong feeling of community. But what were the early days of libraries like in New Zealand? The first so-called public library opened in Wellington in 1841, which was the Port Nicholson Exchange. The following year, 2 new libraries opened in Nelson and in Auckland. These settler libraries were different back in the day. Mechanics' institutes were set up in New Zealand, inspired by the UK, as a place for trade workers to access learning resources. And it was different because these libraries were subscription-based and geared towards the working male demographic. As time moved on, small commercial libraries were added into the mix. Meanwhile, across the world in Scotland, Andrew Carnegie was born in 1835. His family emigrated to America when he was 13 years old. He would soon begin to work in a cotton mill, earning $1.20 a week. Then he worked as a telegraph operator, and then he started working as a superintendent at Pennsylvania Railroad in his early 20s. In his youth, he was a dedicated reader. A man named Colonel James Anderson had opened his library to young working boys, and Carnegie made the most of this generosity. No doubt this influenced his passion projects later in life.
If one boy in each library district, by having access to one of these libraries, is half as much benefited as I was by having access to Colonel Anderson's 400 well-worn volumes, I shall consider they have not been established in vain.
The Carnegie family bought shares in a railroad company with Andrew's insights. By the time that he was 30, he had big business in the railroads, steamers, ironworks, oil wells, and his steel production company became the biggest manufacturing company in the world. This was a man who came from poverty and worked his way up to millions. What does he have to do with libraries? What does he have to do with our libraries all the way over in New Zealand? By 1870, Carnegie begins his philanthropic career. Andrew Carnegie believed that the rich had a moral obligation to give away their fortunes. He had a lifelong interest in making public libraries that were free for everyone to use for their self-education.
It was from my own early experience that I decided there was no use to which money could be applied so productive of good to girls and boys who have good within them and ability and ambition to develop it as the founding of a public library.
Andrew Carnegie and the Carnegie Corporation of New York were responsible for building 2,509 libraries in the States, in Britain, Ireland, Canada, Australia, the Caribbean, Fiji, and New Zealand. He spent about $56 million on them. New Zealand had 18 Carnegie libraries built in total. These were constructed in Balclutha, Gore, Dunedin, Alexandra, Fairlie, Timaru, Hokitika, Westport, Greymouth, Levin, Dannevirke, Martin, New Plymouth, Hastings, Cambridge, Thames, Hamilton, and Onehunga. Only the Martin and Balclutha buildings still exist as libraries today. In 1869, our government passed the Public Library Act, which gave councils the responsibility to manage libraries, as they do today. For the funding application to Carnegie to be approved, he required that councils prove that they were debt-free, and they had to commit to an annual sum for the continued upkeep of the libraries. This is an interesting point, because the main criticism of Carnegie libraries was that he funded them to be built only. Some critics suggested that money would have been better spent on funding the collection of books or on training staff. Some grumblings were made over quantity of libraries being prioritised over the quality of the libraries. Here's an excerpt from a Waikato newspaper from 26th of February 1908, sourced from paperspast.com.
Carnegie Library Booklist. The library building cost $10,000 and presents a better appearance than other Carnegie libraries that cost twice as much. It was finished more than a year ago, but has been tenantless to this date. At a municipal election, a tax levy for the library was defeated. The divided controversy into two factions, Carnegie and anti-Carnegie, with the latter in control. Just what Mr. Carnegie will do when he learns of his bookless library is unknown. His money has been invested and the building cannot be taken away.
Some of our councils misinterpreted what Carnegie meant when he insisted that his libraries be free. He had the vision of libraries being totally, absolutely free, no borrowing fees for books or membership fees. The Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh even has a famous "Free to the People" etched above the main entrance of the main branch. Some of the councils struggled with this. Some withdrew their applications because of the burden it would have placed on ratepayers. Some pushed forward, perhaps even intentionally misreading the criteria, as they didn't really meet the conditions. Hastings Library got into some trouble after a public library user wrote to Carnegie himself to complain about library charges. Whoops! They got called out, they got called to account, the library dropped the charges to the public, added them back on. The 1931 Hawke's Bay earthquake happened, and then their next submission for the funding was rejected. Double whoops.
Carnegie libraries were characterised by their concrete and brick exteriors overseas, although in New Zealand they were designed by local architects. The final Carnegie Library in New Zealand was opened in Martin in 1916, and by the time Carnegie himself passed away in 1919, he had given away $350 million. In New Zealand alone, he donated $207,607, which is about equivalent to $5 million today.
The man who dies thus rich dies disgraced.
Andrew Carnegie was a forward-thinking businessman and philanthropist, and he certainly had an impact on the public library sphere. Not only did he establish 18 libraries in New Zealand, which was a boon for our young country at the time, but he brought forward the idea of free libraries. We know that cost is a barrier to access, and everyone should have equal access to books and information, regardless of their status in society. We've reached even further these days, with many New Zealand libraries not even charging late fees for books. The Library and Information Association of New Zealand, ANZAC, states that the people who can least afford to pay fines are often the ones who need the library service the most. You can look further into this movement on finefreeaotearoa.org.nz. As a self-made millionaire, another of Carnegie's core values was self-education, and he really wanted libraries to facilitate that. This, too, is one of the guiding principles of the public library today, as we aim to empower users to become lifelong learners. In doing so, we uplift our communities. And thanks to Mr. Carnegie's benefaction, we were able to build a bunch of libraries over 100 years ago. Libraries sure look a whole lot different than Carnegie would have ever anticipated. A whole lot of information is now digital, and Carnegie lived in a pre-computer era. However, we like to believe that he would have been very pleased with our fine-free and equal access policies.
There is not such a cradle of democracy upon the earth as the free public library, this republic of letters where neither rank, office, nor wealth receives the slightest consideration.
Public libraries have a tendency to adapt, evolve, and change to meet user needs. For example, digital inclusion is a democratic right for everyone. The library space is for everyone, and in light of figures like Carnegie in our history, we're here to encourage you all to make the most of the public library. After all, it belongs to you.
Whatever agencies for good may rise or fall in the future, it seems certain that the free library is destined to stand and become a never-ceasing foundation of good to all the inhabitants.
The information for this deep dive was sourced from carnegie.org, newzealandhistory.com, tiara.com, Papers Past, and New Zealand Geographic.
And we're back. That was interesting, Karlie. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun little research project for me.
Yeah, and Andrew Carnegie's voice sounds very...
Sounds familiar.
He has a nice voice.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Andy.
Well, I tried finding his actual voice on YouTube, and this would be a very old recording, and I found it kind of difficult to understand.
Yeah, but it's very cool that there is a recording of his voice somewhere. There's lots and lots and lots of information about Andrew Carnegie and online, and we've got a few books about him. So yeah, if that caught your interest, there you go.
Yeah, if you just search YouTube, Andrew Carnegie voice, you can hear him speak. And maybe someone has done some clever sound mixing to make it a little more understandable.
Yeah, cool. So that was fun. And should we look into another bit of history and talk about ANZAC Day now?
Yes, so I just have a statement of my own impression of ANZAC Day, more so than the actual history of it. What I understand about the history is that the Gallipoli campaign in 1915 took place in April, and it was a massive loss. I think I saw the numbers earlier today, but New Zealand sent 15,000 New Zealand soldiers to Gallipoli, and 7,000 were killed.
Yeah.
That's half of them, roughly, and what a massive loss in a short amount of time. But this is just my point of view as a foreigner of what ANZAC Day has meant for me. ANZAC Day is not a celebration of war, as I see it, nor is it a call for us to be grateful, and it is definitely not a jingoistic rally to unquestioningly support foreign wars. Instead, from what I have seen, ANZAC Day is like an elegy. It is a day to express grief.
Yeah, well said, and I would agree. We in New Zealand, so ANZAC Day we know is a national day of remembrance, and it's about remembering the lives lost and the men who went overseas in World War One. But we've sort of expanded it, I guess, over time to include remembering the sacrifices of men and women in all wars across that New Zealand has been involved with in Australia. So I encourage you, we encourage you to get amongst the ANZAC Day, what would you call them, events in your areas. It's very important to reflect on these things.
There's in Kaikohe, there's a dawn service, and people come out quite early. It's still dark. They've got their woolies on, and they go and they see a service at the War Memorial in downtown Kaikohe.
Yeah.
And in Whangarei, is there something similar? There must be.
Yes, there is. Usually in the park behind Farmers, I forget what it's called. There's usually a dawn service there. There's definitely ones in the little suburbs around. I usually go to Te Kamo and ANZAC services there later in the morning. But yeah, there will be plenty around, and also there'll be the one in Wellington televised on TV as usual.
And I can never emphasize enough, but if you want to learn about ANZAC Day, or if you want to learn about Gallipoli or the Maori Battalion, search those words in the library catalog. We've got stuff.
Yes, we'll have plenty. In general, the war non-fiction is around the 940s, 950s, in the history section of the library. So it's always a good thing to reflect, to think about it, to hopefully carry that with us forward, and so we don't repeat the past. And
Well, Karlie, would you like a very short quiz?
I would. Yeah. You know how we like our quizzes, and I don't promise that I was the best one on the team, so just a warning. No,
you definitely contributed. You were our writer also, and you knew some things I definitely didn't.
I did do pretty well in the music section.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I'm going to ask two questions that are from the quiz night, because I think they're great quiz questions, but I just want to warn the audience that these are trick questions, and they're commonly used.
Gosh. Yeah.
And we're going to ruin it for everybody. Yeah.
You see his face right now.
Yeah, have you ever... you know who the Joker is.
Bring it on.
All right. What is the world's largest desert?
Oh, yes, and I didn't know this one. Props to Nada on our team who educated me on this. Antarctica.
Very good. If you just Google the Antarctic desert, the pictures are crazy because not only does it look dry to the bone, it must be unbelievably cold.
Yeah.
And there has not been precipitation for more than 1 million years.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that I can imagine that could be quite eerie to look at.
That's a nosebleed.
Yeah.
That's dry.
Ah. Okay.
All right, the next one. I like this one. What percentage of DNA do we share with chimpanzees?
Oh, and I know you got this one on the weekend. It's high. 98?
Very good. I'm going to get the exact amount.
Yeah, it was 98 point something, wasn't it?
It's already in my search history. 98.8. And that source is the American Museum of Natural History.
Wow. Yep, explains a lot.
To my American listeners, visit that museum while you still can.
Yeah.
I'm rolling my eyes right now. But yeah, go to that museum. See what's there. I like that quiz question. All right, these I wrote myself.
Okay. Yep.
Written by Witi Ihimaera, what is the title of the first book written by a Maori author?
I think I know what it is.
It's multiple choice.
Okay, thank God.
All right. First, I think it's first book published written by a Maori author.
Yeah.
A. Tangi. B. The Matriarch. C. Whale Rider. D. Whānau.
He wrote The Whale Rider, but I doubt that's the first one. Is it D? No.
Whānau?
Yep.
Is that your guess?
Yep.
Incorrect. The answer is Tangi.
Oh, Tangi. Okay.
That was the
That's a good fact.
second book he published, and that was the first novel published by a Maori author. His first collection of short stories was called, I think, Ponamu Ponamu, and that was the first collection of short stories published by a Maori author.
Wow.
So Ihimaera is a writer of many firsts, milestones. Okay, I only have one more.
Okay.
Where is the Janet Frame House Museum? Is it in Kaikoura, Timaru, Wanaka, or Oamaru?
Oh my gosh, I don't actually know this. I don't. A?
Kaikoura?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Incorrect. It is in Oamaru, about an hour's drive from Dunedin.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't got into my Janet Frame yet, but she's such an interesting character, her own life. Yeah.
I've actually not read anything by her. So for me, the attraction when I was in Oamaru was definitely the penguins.
Oh, yeah.
In second place, the Steampunk Museum.
Cool.
Because that was a great exhibit.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you for that quiz. I definitely learned 2 more facts today to add to the 2 facts I learned or more that I learned on the weekend. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Okay. Should we we've got a few more minutes, we'll look at a few events coming up at the library.
Definitely.
So we've talked about ArtBeat this weekend. Tomorrow there is, and I'm not sure, don't think it doesn't say it's sold out. So there's an event called Bodies by the Beaches, which is a panel of mystery and crime and thriller writers, not just novelists, who are they're gonna lead a panel in the library to discuss and start good conversation about those themes in books. So we've got Michael Botur, Tracy Lark, Cheryl Clark, Koo Harkins, and Tanis Laidlaw, and it's gonna be a good what time of day is this? Evening session, 5:30 till 7:30 tomorrow. You do have to pre-register online, so you've got a little bit of time to do that. That's on our website. If you want to register for the event, I highly recommend that you attend. It's going to be a good one. And that's at the Whangarei Central Library upstairs in the Maybain room.
All right.
Tomorrow.
I'd like to plug something that's coming up on the 13th of April. There is at Central Library, the Make Comics NZ Whangarei. It's basically just a group where you can go and draw comic books, draw comic book characters, and I think this sounds like a really, really cool event to have in the library. These are growing artists in our midst, and I have met many very keen comic book readers, and I'm pretty sure some of them also dream of drawing them too.
Yeah, this looks like it's part of ArtBeat 2025 as well, another free event. It's for all ages, although kids need to be supervised with an adult. It's just a drop-in event on... Oh, there's a few days. So the next bunch of Sundays, starting this Sunday, going through to Sunday the 10th of August. I think it's once a month, so it must be the first Sunday of the month. But yeah, check out the times, on the dates on our website. So that's 10 to 1 p.m. on Sundays. Yeah,
I just had to plug that because I have much respect for artists. And,
there's a lot of people in Whangarei who'll be interested in that one.
Yeah.
We also need to quickly talk about school holiday program.
Yes.
School holidays next week. It's the time that teachers look forward to and librarians look forward to, but we also know we're going to be super, super busy. The children's school holiday events is based around famous artists this term. So there's activities, little crafts based on Vincent van Gogh, Frida Kahlo, Claude Monet, and more. You don't need a book, but these are happening Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, except not the second week. On the school holidays, 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. Kids need to be accompanied by an adult, but it's basically just downstairs in the junior room at Whangarei Central Library. So that's for primary aged kids, and that's going to be amazing. Mrs. Kite has a lot of fun stuff prepared.
That's right.
There's also the same days, there's the Teen Breakfast Club. This is for tweens and teens, 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. in the teens area of the library, starting next Tuesday. The dates are on our website again. So that's kids aged 10 plus, snacks provided for this one. Please bring some water bottles for the kids. There will be crafts and cool stuff focusing on the theme of landscapes, but different mixed materials for that. Highly recommend. Our teen services librarian Milani has been putting in a lot of prep for this, and it's bound to be a goodie. Yeah, any other events coming up we want to plug?
Nothing comes to mind.
Cool.
Can't wait for the next episode.
Yep. So in 2 weeks' time, I think it'll be LJ and Glenn.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll put a coda on this. We'll end with a song. This is definitely a familiar tune. You've heard the cover version. Here's the original. This is Nature by Formula.
Ka kite, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you at the library.